My next stop is the 107-year-old 20-room mansion that's now the Presby Museum. My grandma always used to say that if people had to use the tools of the early 1900s, then they wouldn't call it the good old days. But at the Presby, right off of downtown Goldendale, the good old days is exactly what I came here to experience. Bonnie, now the Presby House Museum was owned originally by the Presby family.
Yes, Mr. Presby built it in 1902.
1902, okay. And what brought them to Goldendale?
Well, kind of amazingly, Mr. Presby was a graduate of Princeton.
Really?
Back east, and he came out west kind of seeking his fortune. And he had a couple of jobs, and then he decided to read the law. And he read law under the famous Judge Oregon Dunbar. And in about 1893, his first wife, Nellie, died of diphtheria. And the next year, he married Zoe Presby. I think shortly after that, he achieved his lawyer status.
Okay.
He passed the bar. And by by the turn of the century, they had 3 boys, and they needed a bigger house. Yes. And he needed to have an office for his law practice. And that was about the time that all the moguls back east were building big, fascinating, and ostentatious houses. But Mr. Presby had it in a kind of a Klickitat County kind of way.
Okay.
He just wanted to have a great big wood house that would look like a palace in Goldendale, which wasn't too hard at the time.
It still does.
Yeah, really, it does. It does. We call it the Presby Mansion for a lot of years. So he built this house in 1902. It cost him the awful sum of $8,000. Amazing sum.
That's incredible.
But that was because he had to change the plan. It wouldn't have been so much, but he changed the plan and put on an extra cupola on the porch. And I don't know how much the woodwork carpenter cost, but we've gotten our money's worth out of it.
I guess.
Because 107 years later, the woodwork still looks wonderful.
So now that it's a museum, you have pieces and clothing and all kinds of things from all over Klickitat County, or explain what's actually housed here now.
That pretty well says it. In 1962, when they decided to have a museum, people from all over the county said, oh gosh, I've got my grandma's wedding dress, or we've got that buggy they used to drive down the road, or we've got a bell from the school. And they all brought it all in. They got, oh my goodness, they got all kinds of display stuff, and they got a typewriter that typed great big, and they spent days and days ranging and kind of playing dollhouse with this house, I do believe.
Well, down in Dixie lived old Uncle Joe. Down in Dixie, that's the place to go, where you sure will hear some music grand, sweetest melodies in all the land. Well, every night beneath the southern moon, Uncle Joe would play a raggy tune. Things begin to hop when he starts to thumb a rag upon his old banjo. When Uncle Joe plays a rag on his old banjo, everybody starts playing to and fro. Anyone is all around the cabin floor, yelling, Uncle Joe, give me more, give me more. Now the folks come to run when they hear that sound, swinging and a dancing till they shake the ground. When Uncle Joe plays a rag on his old banjo.
Maybe sometime soon, Bonnie will say, see you at the Presby. When touring the Gorge returns, I'm setting them up and I'm knocking them down at the totally vintage, totally cool Golden Lanes Bowling Alley. Plus, I'm checking in with the locals. It's all right around the corner, so hang tight.